Good morning. We're going to look at some outstanding trees today at the clearing, 5 outstanding trees. And we're going to start with this white pine right near the entrance to the Jensen Center off Garrett Bay Road. It's not the tallest white pine on the property. It's probably 70 feet tall, still a pretty good sized tree, but it's the nicest one. And it's right along the drive in and out of the Jensen Center. As people leave the parking lot, it's right in their view. Just an outstanding specimen. We took off the bottom dead branches a few years ago to make it look a little nicer. And I love white pines. On the right day, if you asked me what my favorite tree was, I'd probably say white pine. It's got this beautiful horizontal branching structure, very architectural. And while some conifers like firs and spruce, when they lose their bottom branches, they really lose a lot. They don't look nearly as nice. White pines get more beautiful with age, even as they lose their bottom branches. They have just a beautiful architecture, and they are the tallest growing trees in Door County. And you'll often look at a distant tree line and see the white pine sticking up above the rest of the trees. So this is the number one white pine at the clearing, in my opinion. "15 yards from that beautiful white pine is the nicest sugar maple on the property, right at the entrance off Garrett Bay Road to the Jensen Center. And it's got this beautiful branching structure. It's probably 150, maybe even 200 years old. Certainly one of the oldest trees on the property, except for the arborvitae that grow along the escarpment, which are ancient. But this is a sugar maples go a big one around here. There's a big knot at the bottom. I'm sure a barbed wire fence went through there at one time. But this, of course, is Wisconsin state tree. Beautiful fall color, that kind of orangey yellow. It's the one that I'm guessing this tree has been tapped for sugar maple in the old days many times. And it's open grown, so it's got this wide spreading branching habit. The ones that come up in the woods tend to be narrower. But this is just a gorgeous specimen of a sugar maple right next to this gorgeous specimen of a white pine, in a perfect place at the clearing, right at the entrance to the Jensen Center. So, sugar maple, white pine. Our third tree today, our third outstanding tree, is the best balsam fir on the property, right off the patio on the east side of the Jensen Center. Probably approaching 80 feet tall, 70 to 80 feet tall, narrow as firs tend to be. And this one has a particularly beautiful top. They're often very dense at the top to shed snow. You can't see it from here, but there are probably some cones up there, and firs have cones that point up. That's how you tell firs from spruce. They look very similar, especially from a distance, but fir cones point up and spruce cones hang down like pine cones do and hemlock cones. But fir cones point up, and they're up there somewhere. But this is just a beautiful specimen of a balsam fir. There are also a couple of other ones here, but they're not behind it. Not quite that nice, but that's got to be the tallest one on the property. And I think it's the nicest one. And we're lucky, just like we have those two beautiful trees at the entrance to the Jensen Center, the sugar maple and the white pine, we have this beautiful balsam fir right outside the building along the patio. Balsam fir. This is the biggest and best, tallest paper birch on the property. right here, not that far from the Orchard House, just off of Garrett Bay Road. It's along a driveway that we no longer use to get to the Jensen Center. There used to be 3 drives. We consolidated the parking and driveways 3 years ago, and this got abandoned. So this is along an abandoned drive that used to take us to the back of the Jensen Center. This is gorgeous multiple stem paper birch. It's seen better days. One of the trunks I see is dead now. Paper birch don't live a long time. A 100-year-old paper birch tree that's an old paper birch, old tree. A 100-year-old sugar maple is just hitting its stride. But this is still a beauty. Several multiple stems, of course the beautiful white bark, evergreens in the background, and it's the one tree everybody knows from the bark, paper birch. Our last outstanding tree for today is the Canada hemlock right there. It's not the biggest one on the property, but it's open grown. You can see it really well. There are bigger ones along the exit road at the clearing, but you can't see them as well. Hemlocks get to be a big tree. Sometimes the trunk gets to be 3-4 feet across, and really old ones. A very soft, fine textured tree. It's the shortest needles of any conifer in Door County. The top, you can often tell it by the very top of the tree, the leader flops over. Some people call it old floppy top because of that. But that's one way to identify it from a distance. And it has, for a big tree, really tiny cones, these small egg-shaped cones, up to 1 inch long or so. And they'll open up when they are ripe, and then you'll sometimes see chickadees or nuthatches hanging upside down, picking the seeds out as they feed. This one is just to the west of the Jensen Center along the road that connects the front parking lot to the employee parking lot. And we were concerned about this one when they cut this road. They initially cut it too close to the tree, and we were worried about this tree suffering, but it's been 3 years, still looks good, so we're hoping that it survives. Looks good so far. Canada hemlock.